A public-private partnership is an arrangement between the public sector, usually represented by the government, and the private sector, where the private sector is tasked to perform a function that is usually provided by the public sector. This is normally done in terms of a PPP agreement. In this video, we will discuss the various aspects of public-private partnerships. Welcome back to Public Administration 101, proudly brought to you by Kano Consultants, for professional advice you can trust. As indicated, in this video, we will discuss the various aspects of public-private partnership by first defining what we mean by public-private partnership, and then discuss some of the objectives of public-private partnership. We will then list some of the benefits of public-private partnership, including some of the challenges of managing public-private partnerships. We will also list some of the common types of public-private partnerships, and then conclude by stating some of the advantages as well as disadvantages of using public-private partnerships. Before we get into today's video, if you are watching this on YouTube, we would like to remind you to please check out our other videos on public administration under this channel, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more content. You can also support the channel by signing up to our Patreon page for early releases of these videos and for more content. Check out the link to our Patreon page on the description below. Now, let us get into today's video. What is a public-private partnership? Public-private partnership, otherwise referred to as PPP, is defined as an arrangement between the public sector and the private sector, where the private sector performs a function that is usually provided by the public sector in terms of a PPP agreement. In other words, public-private partnerships are essentially partnerships between an agency of the government and the private sector in the delivery of goods or services to the public. Some of the main objectives of these partnerships between the public sector and the private sector are as follows: to increase the financing available for infrastructure by making use of private sector investment resources, to improve value for money in infrastructure projects by creating incentives for best practice design, timely completion, and efficient operations by sharing project risks with the private sector, to encourage innovation in the provision of infrastructure, to improve the sustainability of infrastructure and infrastructure service, to improve accountability in public expenditure. Public-private partnerships also come with a number of benefits. One of the main benefits of a public-private partnerships is that the management skills and financial acumen of private businesses could create better value for money for taxpayers when there is proper cooperative arrangements between the public and private sectors. Another benefit of a public-private partnerships is that it can increase the quality, the efficiency, and the competitiveness of public services. Public-private partnerships can also supplement the limited capacity in the public sector and raise additional finance in an environment of budgetary restrictions. The best use of private sector operational efficiencies can also increase quality to the public and the ability to speed up infrastructure development. Implementing and managing public-private partnerships also come with its own challenges, and some of them are as follows. There is often different organizational cultures and goals between the public sector and the private sector. There is also often inconsistencies between resource inputs and quality between the two parties. Public and private sector institutions sometimes lack institutional knowledge and support to manage such partnerships. There is usually a lack of legal frameworks to regulate these partnerships. Governments often lack adequate procedures for selecting PPP partners. There is sometimes inadequate monitoring and evaluation of public-private partnership processes. There is often lack of transparency in some of these partnerships. And lastly, there is sometimes an unwillingness to share risks and responsibilities between the public sector and the private sector. There are various types of public-private partnership projects which the government can choose from. This will obviously be based on the contractual arrangements involved, as well as the projects to be embarked upon. As indicated, public-private partnerships take a wide range of forms, based on the extent of involvement of, and risk taken by the private party. The terms of a PPP arrangement are typically set out in a contract or agreement, to outline the responsibilities of each party, and clearly allocate risk. Some of the common types of PPP arrangements available are as follows. The first type of PPP arrangement is the build, operate, and transfer, or BOT. This is one of the most common PPP agreements, where the government will hand over the constructing and operating rights of a project or infrastructure to the private sector. This will be given for a predetermined period of time. Once that period is completed, this will then be taken back by the government. One of the flexibility available of BOT agreements is that the private sector can implement the planning and design as per the agreement. The build, operate, and transfer agreement can further be customized into any of the other following types. The next type of PPP arrangement is the build, own, operate, and transfer, or BOOT. As the name suggests, the government will hand over the project to the private sector entity to design and build the project, to own and operate the project, and then transfer it to the government. The next type of PPP agreement is called the BOO, or the Build, Own, and Operate Agreement. The Build, Own, and Operate is a PPP project model in which a private organization builds, owns, and operates a facility or structure with some degree of encouragement from the government. Although the government doesn't provide direct funding under this model, it may, however, offer other financial incentives, such as tax-exempt status. The next type of PPP arrangement is the Design, Build, Operate, and Maintain Project Model, or the DBOM. The DBOM model is an integrated partnership that combines the design and construction responsibilities of design-build procurement with the operations and maintenance. These project components are procured from the private sector in a single contract, with financing secured by the public sector. Under this model, the government institution maintains ownership and retains a significant level of oversight over the operations, through terms defined in a contract. The next type of PPP model is the Design, Build, Operate, and Transfer model, or the DBOT model. The Design, Build, Operate, and Transfer model is generally a form of PPP project in which a single private contractor is appointed to design, build, and operate a project on behalf of the government, before transferring the operations and maintenance back to the government after an agreed period of time. DBOT is a variation on the BOT contract model, but in DBOT model, the contractor designs, as well as builds the project. The DBOT partnership model also differs from a design, build, finance, and operate contract model, in which the private sector also finances the project and leases it to the government for an agreed period, after which the development reverts to the government. Under the DBFO project arrangement, the private sector is awarded a contract to design, construct, finance, and operate a capital project. In consideration for performing its obligations under the agreement, the private sector may be paid by the government, or paid from fees collected from the project's end users. The government or government-owned entity retains ownership of the project. In the case of the ROT model, or the Rehabilitate, Operate, and Transfer type of model, The private sector is contracted to perform the following activities on an existing facility, which is to refurbish, operate, and maintain the government facility. These activities will be performed for a specific period of time, after which the title will be transferred back to the government. The ROT model is also suited to government facilities, which are identified for refurbishment, or to be erected. Another type of public-private partnership arrangement is through equity partnerships. This is when the government provides equity to the project company or through a public infrastructure fund. To avoid conflict of interest, the government's equity participation may be made through a trust fund. Another reason for government equity participation may be to cash in on the success of the project. That is, to share in the profits from that project. There are other ways a project can be structured to allow the government to share in the profits, without the need for it to take an equity stake. The pros and cons of each of these options should be considered, if the government wishes to have access in the success of the project. The last model we will discuss is what has been termed as the Facilities Management Project Model. The facilities management is an integrated approach to operating, maintaining, and improving the buildings and infrastructure of a government organization, in order to create an environment that allows for the government to concentrate on its core business activities. The role of the facilities management contractor would then be to create an optimal, safe, and cost-effective environment, to deliver effective and responsive services, to enable changes in the use of space and anticipating future asset needs, to ensure the facility is compliant with all relevant codes and regulations, to create competitive advantages for the government agency's core mandate, as well as to enhance the government's culture and image. If you are watching this on YouTube, you can also subscribe to our channel by searching for Kano Consultants. Now back to today's video. We will now discuss some of the advantages of public-private partnerships, which are as follows. Public-private partnerships ensure that there are necessary investments into public sector and a more effective public resources management. Public-private partnerships also ensure adherence to higher quality and timely provision of public services. Most public-private partnership investment projects are implemented in record time and do not incur unforeseen expenditures. Public-private partnerships also affords the private sector an opportunity to obtain long-term remuneration. Other advantages include the appropriate allocation of project risks, which enable the reduction and the proper management of risks by each of the parties. Assets designed under public-private partnerships agreements could also be classified outside the public sector balance sheet. Public-private partnerships also have the following disadvantages. Procurement procedures under public-private partnerships normally take longer and more costly in comparison with traditional public procurement. Hence, some infrastructure or services delivered under public-private partnerships could be more expensive. A delay in public sector payment processes and obligations can negatively impact future projects. Furthermore, public-private partnerships projects are often long-term, complicated, and comparatively inflexible. In conclusion, public-private partnerships delivery models present an opportunity for governments, whether for national or regional growth, to advance their policy objectives of job creation or environmental sustainability by tapping into the expertise, skills, innovation, and investment abilities of the private sector. A successful public-private partnership project is indeed about leveraging the best assets and skills of the private and public sectors in a partnership that creates value for money, for the society. We've come to the end of this video on the public-private partnerships. So, thank you for watching. Please take time to check out our other videos on public administration and public finance under this channel, where we discuss various topics relating to public administration, as well as public management and the management of the public sector, including the running of government. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more content. And remember to turn on the notification button to make sure that you don't miss out when we post new videos. You can also connect with us by following us on social media at consultkano, and continue the conversation by leaving us a comment below or tagging us on social media using the hashtag consultkano. Thank you again for watching. Join us again next time for another video. Until then, check out these other videos. Kano Consultants, for professional advice you can trust.